In this video, I'm going to be sharing Michael Beckwith's simple 4-stage process for how our consciousness evolves and how we grow spiritually, so you can see right where you are and how you can transition to the next level. What's up, you amazing human? My name is Ben Hart, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing Michael Beckwith's 4-stage process for evolution of consciousness for spiritual growth. All right, if you dig the content I'm about to share, hit the subscribe button below if you want to see more in the future. And if there's anybody out there you think might benefit from this video, hit the like button, leave a comment, it'll help them find it. All right, for those of you who aren't aware, Michael Beckwith is a spiritual teacher, author, really powerful spiritual minister down in Agape, which is a church in LA. And he's just had a huge impact on my life and millions of people around the world. And his simple 4 stages of the evolution of consciousness are really powerful in terms of recognizing where we might be at in a moment. You know, it's not necessarily like you're here and you're only here. We can kind of fluctuate between stages sometimes, but it's really important to understand where do you tend to hang out, how do you transition to the next stage, and just what's that whole thing about in terms of how you're relating to reality and how you could actually be even more empowered, free, liberated. Choose your words, just more goodness for you. So let's jump into it. Stage number 1. What Michael Beckwith would say is this is the stage of the victim. You know, this is someone who is thinking life is happening to them, and it's all about, you know, having to deal with what life is throwing your way. So there's a real feeling of like, you know, bad stuff always happens to me, I'm always having to deal with this crap, like just feeling like you are at the receiving end of life's shit. And the way to transition beyond this, I mean, first of all, let's just say so many of us find ourselves here, you know, whether you live here all the time or you just find yourself here from moment to moment. I think it's really important for us just to be able to recognize when are we in a mindset of life is happening to me. And the way we transition out of that stage is to move into more of a place of personal responsibility, personal accountability. You may have the experience of life happening to us, but where are we responsible for what's happening? Where do we have sovereignty? Where do we have accountability and responsibility and the ability to show up and to create something different? You know, we are not the victim of life. We are able to create things. Like, certainly we may feel like that at times, but our ability to actually create our life is huge. And our ability and our choice to step into that and take personal responsibility is what allows us to move into this next stage. And this would be the stage of by me. This would be what we might call the manifestor stage, I believe is what Michael Beckwith calls it. And so the experience of stepping into personal responsibility, and then we begin to create our life. You know, this is a place where you can often see people like doing affirmations and doing visualization and living in a place of like, okay, I'm no longer a victim to life. I want to create my life the way I want it. So it's, you know, it's telling ourselves what we want to create and having a vision for it and going after it and trying to get it, and, you know, using spiritual principles and tools and personal growth techniques to become more of the person who can create that or be in the vibration where that might be able to happen. And, you know, this is beautiful as a step beyond being a victim. It's huge for us to step into our empowerment, step into our creative capacity. But you'll notice in that stage that, well, first of all, to say, so if you recognize there's times in your life when, and, you know, certainly in mine, when I'm trying to make something happen, you know, I am feeling like I am the manifestor and my life is mine to create and I need to make it happen. And there's beauty to that and there's empowerment to that, but there's also the feeling of like, it's all on me. You know, this is happening by me. I'm no longer a victim to life. It's now I am creating it, but there's a feeling of like, I need to make it happen or it won't happen. It's my responsibility. And the transition out of this stage into the next is to recognize that actually life is for us. Life is on our team. Life wants good things for us. And actually it's not all on our shoulders. You know, I am not solely responsible to make it happen. I can relax, I can surrender, I can let the flow of life and the goodness that wants to come into my life happen. So much of the goodness that has come into my life was not by anything I did. I may have been showing up, may have been present, may have been aware, may have been, you know, taking the opportunities that were coming my way. But so much of the goodness had nothing to do with anything that I actually did. And so transitioning out of being manifestor and feeling like life is happening by me into being more of what we might call a channel. Life is happening through me, you know? I do not need to create every opportunity. There's so much goodness that is wanting to just rush into my life all of the time. And this is a place where we, like, if you notice, like the manifestor stage is much more of a masculine stage. It's much more like, I'm creating this, I'm doing this, I'm responsible for this, which is beautiful and super important. And as we transition to this next stage, the pendulum swings into more of the feminine. It's more of the surrendered. It's more of the receptive. It's more of the allowance, allow the good to happen. And this is a place where, people talk about, information coming through, getting downloads. It's like guidance. It's allowing life to happen through them, seeing themselves as a part of the field, and life is happening through them and creating things. So it's where a lot of creativity comes online, a lot of art, a lot of, just beautiful creation as we surrender. And that's not to say that still, like, powerful things don't get created. For sure they do. It's not just about art. It's about, businesses get created and movements get created. And we are allowing ourselves to be the channel, to be the hollow bones such that life can move through us. And that's beautiful and great. And so moving from, to me, life is happening to me as a victim, to life is happening by me as a manifestor, into life is happening through me as a channel. And you can notice how you might, move through those throughout your day. It's not necessarily that you're just going to live in one all the time. Certainly people who are living as a channel can sometimes drop down into feeling like life is happening to them and they're a victim. And it's all about just being aware of where are we at throughout our day and being aware of where would we like to be and how can we consciously step into that. So the fourth stage is, the way we would move from the third stage to the fourth stage is the sense of separation from life begins to dissolve. So, in the third stage, it's like life is happening through me. Life is moving through me. I am a channel that life moves through. In the fourth stage, that sense of separation goes away. We're no longer, life is not happening through us. We are life. You are it. There is no sense of separation. There is one thing happening. You are it. You are the expression of it. And, stuff happens. And this isn't a place necessarily where a lot of us are living or hanging out. There may be like more transcendent, sublime moments where we recognize, the sense of ego separation dissolves and there's one thing going on. We are one. This is it. And, it's not life happening through us, just you are life. And I think a powerful way to open to that fourth stage is just to recognize, one, that is a possibility. There's so many saints and mystics and yogis and gurus throughout time that have, talked about this. It's like the ecstatics talk about it, the mystics talk about it, the saints talk about it, of just like, we are one thing. And letting yourself just seep in that transmission, letting yourself seep in that potential, if it feels like a potential or a possibility, and then letting yourselves enjoy the times when it just comes. By the grace of whatever, there are times when we just fully step in and enjoy and sink into that timeless oneness. And, I think that with the other stages, it's so easy to kind of consciously move ourselves in those directions. And with this one, it might be said that there's much more grace that's required, that there's no as we said, like the second stage is more masculine, the third stage is more feminine. The question of like, where does our masculine, our feminine allow for us to move into that fourth stage is a good question of like, how much can we consciously will it? And how much is it just as we surrender into being the channel, we step into being everything. So I leave you with that possibility of, the paradox of how best to hold that in terms of your efforting and in terms of your surrender to move into the fourth, but recognize that it is absolutely there as a stage that people reflect upon, speak from, write about, and it's a potential there for each of us. So again, recognize when you're in the victim, feeling done to by life. Let yourself step into the manifestor, feeling your self-responsibility and your power and your ability to create your life. As you surrender from there into realizing life is on your side, you can be the channel, you can allow life to happen through you, and by grace, by will, by whatever it is, the sense of separation dissolves and we step into just being life itself. All right, my friends. So again, recognize that these aren't stages that you're necessarily just going to be in fully all the time. That as you move through them, you may begin to notice yourselves in moments moving around in them, and just have the awareness. They've been really helpful for me of just having like a very simple 4-step awareness of where I might be hanging out in my consciousness and what I might want to choose more consciously. All right, I hope you dug this content. If you want to see more in the future, go ahead and hit the subscribe button below. And if there's anybody out there in the world you think would benefit from hearing about these 4 stages, hit the like button, leave a comment. It'll help them find it. Much love to you, my friend. Until next time, I'm Ben Hart. Bye for now.